get me all choked up before I even start. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you to CPAC for naming me one of their top 10 under 40. I was pretty floored. I think the bouncer kicked me out of this place about 4 years ago. So now speaking and addressing all of you, quite a turn of events. You know, folks, people ask me all the time why I left the Secret Service. Well, my oath to protect the president was a solemn one, and I took it very seriously. But my first oath and my primary oath was to protect our form of government and the liberty and prosperity that's been handed down to you folks. This place is different. This place is unique. And that was job number one for me. So I walked away. But more importantly, I want to tell you how I found conservatism. I want to tell you just a quick story. So I was a police officer before I became a Secret Service agent. I was on the street one night. And it was late at night. I used to do a 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. tour in one of the busiest precincts in New York. And I ran into this young kid who I'd seen quite a bit. He couldn't have been more than 10 years old. And I ran into him at about maybe midnight or so. It's strange at the time. I didn't think it was unusual. That's how the neighborhood had really degraded badly. And I got to talking to this young kid, and I said to him, you know, what do you want to do when you grow up? Pretty simple question, right? I think we all have the answer to that. Folks, he had no answer. The idea of a tomorrow to him was not the tomorrow to you. Tomorrow to him was just a chronological date. He had no idea. So I probed a little more and said, you know, what do you want to do? Doctor, engineer, lawyer, police officer? And he said, no, I want to be AZ. And I thought, AZ? I thought he said Jay-Z. At the time, I was a Brooklyn cop, and he was a young, up-and-coming rapper, and I thought to myself, all right. But he said, no, I didn't say Jay-Z. I said AZ. And then it all clicked. AZ was a local drug dealer. Yeah. Folks, this young kid lived in a totally different America than you do. John Edwards gave a speech once about two Americas, but what John Edwards failed to tell you, and what I think everybody in this room knows, is that he created it. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring this up because we are losing as a party. We are losing the battle for hearts and minds. We have to win the hearts and minds before the wallets and the businesses. We are losing. We are losing to a party that is creating nothing but chaos. Ladies and gentlemen, it is very different to make the argument that liberalism is not helping. It's not that it's not helping, folks. It is actually decimating. It's decimating lives, families, generations of families, and cultural institutions, and you owe it to that kid to fight back. We are not doing it. We are arguing the Laffer curve while they are arguing on emotion, and they are kicking our butts. Folks, we are the party of compassion. We always have been. We are the party of real answers. They are the party of nothing but good intentions gone awry. You know, let me just give you a quick story here. If you were to walk out of here today and you were to trip and I don't help you up, I didn't help you. There's a level of depravity in that. But there's an additional level of depravity if as you try to get up, I actually take your legs out and kick you. Liberalism is destroying these kids. Thank you. Folks, the irony of their progressive tax code is it's the most regressive tax code at all. They don't have the lawyers to defeat these tax laws, while the wealthiest among us do. We're the one with the fair tax code. The irony of Obamacare is that everybody can't stand the DMV and the post office. Do you want to call the DMV of the post office to crack your chest open? Folks, no one in this room is going to do that. The folks in this room, we are going to go to boutique medicine that is already establishing itself while the poorest among us under Obamacare are in government clinics. Where is the equity or fairness in that? We're the party of ideas and results. Don't ever forget that. The heart and the mind. Folks, Obamacare is going to devastate communities. It is going to shred them, and people will die. Make no mistake. Don't parse words with it. I'll leave you with this one issue, this last one. That is ours, and we own it. How are we not out there every day talking about school choice? Thank you. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I grew up As I said in that video, eating bologna and turkey sandwiches for dinner and rotten Cheerios. Matter of fact, they weren't even Cheerios. They were O's. Remember O's? If you couldn't afford the... Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. They were just as good. Keep telling yourself that. All right? I'm only up here today speaking to you in coherent sentences in English because a school, a local Catholic school, took us on as a charity case. We paid sometimes, but rarely. Folks, there are 20,000 public high schools in this country. Did you know only 2,000 are responsible for half the dropouts? And if your skin happens to be black, you have a 50% chance of sending your kid to one of those schools. Chew on that one for lunch. That's our fight. These kids were sold out a long time ago by liberalism to union interests that couldn't give a damn about those kids, folks. That is our fight. That is ours. Don't ever forget that. That's our fight. Folks, don't ever give up. A woman came up to me at a speech recently and said, you know, Dan, I'm done. We lost in Maryland. I'm from Maryland. We're being beaten down. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no done. Get it out of your heads right now. There's no done. This is not a video game, okay? You can be done in a video game. You want to be done, put the controller down and go have your turkey sandwich. This is boxing. When you're done, the other guy's still kicking your ass. He does not stop. Liberals will never, ever stop. Ever. Their goal is always power. It has never been to help the little guy. We are the party of the little guy. Folks, never, ever, ever forget. Men and women have sacrificed everything. Their kids, their lives, their limbs, everything to make sure that your todays are prosperous. You owe it to those men and women.